Today, I'm doing actually something that one of my lovely viewers suggested, and I thought it was a really great idea and also a great opportunity for me to kind of look back at this past year. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Irit. I'm a watercolor and mixed media intuitive artist based in Austria and Europe, and on my channel, I share my artsy adventures. So the suggestion was in response to my 15 most loved watercolors of 2025, and I'll put a link so you can watch that video. But someone suggested that I share actually the favorite artwork that I created in 2025. Let me know in the comments what you created this year or in 2025 that you really, really like. And if you have like social media, if you're on Instagram or YouTube, then leave us a link so we can go and see your work also. Actually, in 2024, I think that was probably my most productive year when it came to like finished artwork. For me, the practice of art, the goal is to spread the joy of watercolor and art and enjoy the process. Art is my therapy, and I love just playing around with art supplies, playing with color, and sharing almost all of that in the Joy Art Club, which is my monthly membership. It's not necessarily about, creating finished work and selling it, even though I would love to sell more of my artwork, but I figured for that I need to show it and talk about it more. So this is a good start. But 2024 was very productive in that way. And in 2025, I feel like I was really playing, trying to figure things out. I also released a few new courses, so I was really focused on creating the tutorials and the videos for that, which is a completely different process than working on artwork. I still made a lot of things that I loved, and I'm going to share some of it with you, and hopefully also some of these pieces will be listed on my website. So if you're interested in having one of these in your home, I would be honored. I would be excited. I really feel like my artwork can work in any space. And I actually particularly love it when it is in a more quiet space, because it's usually not very big, but very, very colorful. So it just adds that pop of color to a space that is otherwise maybe quiet without like taking over. So I almost feel like it's like a little embellishment to your room. Also, I've had people tell me that some of my artwork would work really well in kids' rooms, and I totally agree. Some of it, especially the series that I did with acrylics, which you can find on my website, there are some pieces there, where there are like little animals just like found in the work. And of course, it is very colorful, which I think a lot of people see that connection between like a child's space and color. I totally, totally agree. And so if you have a space in your kids' room, or someone who would enjoy to have like original artwork that is happy, colorful. So let me show you some of my pieces. This is probably some of my favorite work that I did in 2025. And it is a series of 4 pieces. And you can see that it also has things on the sides, which I love. It was a joy to work on. I worked here in layers. There is mixed media here. There is a little bit of collage here, which is probably my favorite part. Collage is not something that I do a lot of, and I think it's because I never really found how to make it work for me. But here I just used like little pieces of tissue paper and newspapers and old artwork. And of course it was like matching the colors that I already had in some of the places. There's pencils. So this is one of them. And then this is probably my favorite one. Like I like the collage here, and there's a little bit of like gold marker. Hopefully you can see that. Like scribbles, playing with color. These were so much fun. I really need to make more. And I love how they turned out. You know, they're chaotic and colorful, but because of the surface and also the size, it just looks so pretty hanging on the wall, because it's just like this little colorful embellishment. So these are 12 inches by 12 inches, and I really love working on that size. This is another piece here. I was playing just like, I don't know, trying to figure out fun ways of hanging it. So here I have like some ribbon with, it's like a bag, like you would hold a bag, but instead it's this. And it's just like so playful with a little bit of collage and just like color, play, scribbles, all the things that I love. So this is this series. It hangs in my studio. I didn't even put it on my website because I was so attached to it, but I might put it. Of course, if you see something that you like, this one also has like fun things on the edges. If you see something you like, you know, you can always email me or leave a comment. This piece, I don't know when exactly I painted it, but it is such a great representation of my current style when it comes to watercolors. And I also want to encourage you, if you love, like me, working on paper, framing does so much. It just elevates your work. It looks super finished. My current style in watercolor, colorful, a little bit hectic, and it makes me so happy. The composition is usually imaginary, sort of like a fantasy scene, and I just like bringing in all kinds of elements from, this is inspired by summers in the Mediterranean. You can see like the Greek blue domes, the palm trees, the sun umbrellas. That's the inspiration for a lot of my work on watercolor. It's my favorite subject in the last couple of years. And yeah, so this is a good representation and I really enjoy this particular piece. Now here is some of the more exploring, learning pieces. This was a part, this is made on like sketch paper. It's really thin paper, but it handles everything. I love it. This is one of the pieces, it's a whole series that I was just playing around, and I love the colors here. I love the composition. I love the placement where everything is. And this is another theme that I realized, it took me a long time to realize, that while I love colorful pieces, I usually like to include each color just once and in a certain zone. So this is, again, it's, even though these are very different subjects, different materials, that thing both of these have in common. Like there's this kind of blue only here, like maybe I will splatter it a little bit, but it's only here. And then the pinks are here, the yellows are here, the oranges here, turquoise here, green. And it's the same with this one, right? I call it like tone on tone or color zoning. And then a lot of the work that I did this in the spring and the first half of the year was in preparation for my floral course, which we will do another live run in March, I'm pretty sure. So a lot of you have asked about it and it's coming. There's like a lot here, but let me show you some of my, this is like one of my favorite pieces that I made for the course, and I just had the best time making it. And I don't know if that exact one is a tutorial in the class, but if that one isn't, then there's something similar. I also had fun with some of these pieces, just like playing around on this pattern paper, especially this background. I really like it, like this taupey beige background. Another one of these like pieces. This is actually another piece that I really like. I'm not even sure why. I don't know that it's finished, but something about it really speaks to me. I think it's a little bit of that suggestion of the floral vase. I mean, this to me is clearly like a bloom, and this is also, and then here there's like this suggestion of a flower vase. but it's very abstract and a bit and kind of chaotic and messy. So something about this really speaks to me. We had the best time in the floral course, and I can't wait to get back to it. This is another piece that really speaks to me, except like some of this green is a little bit too greenish. I think it might be fun actually to come back to this piece. It's just on like regular paper, so I don't know, bother to finish it and frame it, but I might because it's very appealing. I would come in and do a background color, do some like negative painting to maybe help bring this like flower bouquet a bit forward. I'm really drawn to this, to the place of a painting that is between a sketch and like a finished piece of work. That's where I'm like, my heart just gets excited about these kinds of things. And this is another example. This was like playtime for the course. I was trying to come up with the lessons and really make it a unique floral course, not one that is, you know, how to paint a rose, because that has been done really well by many, many other artists. I wanted to play with florals in a different way, and this was one of the studies, and I really love it. Maybe I should like develop this to a more polished version. Okay, this piece, again, it's more of a study, but I really loved how it turned out. I call it the Yellow Studio. The concept is based, you know, very, very loosely, because I'm no Matisse, on the Red Studio painting by Matisse. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should Google it, but it's this gorgeous red painting from Matisse, which I think art historians have been really fascinated with it because it hides a lot of things in it. And he also painted a lot of the other artwork he had in his studio at the time. So it's a really, really interesting painting. I made mine a Yellow Studio, and we did this in our color focus in the Joy Art Club back in the summer of 2025. So it was just like a joy to play with. Yeah, I don't know that I would frame it, but to me, this kind of shows me the joy of being playful, exploring different concepts, and also taking inspiration, sometimes very literal inspiration, from previous masters. And then this painting, this just feels like, I don't know, my brain. I mean, it's just fairy tale, what happened here. There's a coffee cup, there are some like trees. This is a bit of a mess. This reminds me of a rainbow. I think this is a water fountain. This looks like a witch's hat or some old building. I don't even remember what I was trying to do here. I think maybe I was doing like a day in Vienna or something, or life in Austria right now. I'm really not sure, but I had the best time making it. And it's just like brings me so much joy. Oh, and I have to show you another piece that I really love. So this piece I also made when we were playing with color in the Joy Art Club. You know, for sure it's not one of my most polished pieces or something like this, but there is something that feels very authentic about it to me. I love the colors. It's a little bit like the theme is loosely based on living in Austria and then growing up in the Middle East and then summers in like on the Mediterranean, that sort of vibe. And I just really love how I painted the frames here with this emerald color, and I painted the mat, and then I have this piece. It's not perfectly framed. I don't know if I should add this like glass-like piece of plastic that comes with this frame. This is like a super cheap frame that I found at IKEA. It makes me happy, and I remember being very happy when I made this. These I also had the best time playing with and painting on, and this is why I bought more of these frames, just because it's so fun to treat this whole thing like it's, you know, my canvas. So this is a work in progress. I don't know what it'll be yet, but these are fantastic because I should probably take under consideration the orientation, because you have this hanging mechanism. So you can just like hang it easily on the wall and it's just like completely flush against the wall. So I really, really love these. They're quite expensive, but I think they are worth it. So this one I made, this little one, which I love. It's very, very messy. But again, because it's like small and would just like embellish an otherwise quiet wall or space. And then this one also had all kinds of developments. It was a different color and it was mostly acrylic. And then I came in and added some oils. It has this super gorgeous texture. And then I decided to paint it indigo, the background, like this wooden frame, which I think just makes all of the colors pop. I didn't paint so much with oils this year as I would have liked, and it's definitely a medium that I'm still figuring out. But this is probably my favorite piece that I did this year. I have a couple more that my mom really, really wanted. She loves oil paintings, so usually she picks up my finished pieces, but I really, really love this one. It is actually based on a place near me in the nearby town. They had this period where the trees were just all pink, and you know that I love that. There is something about oils. I think I should frame this. I didn't sign it, so that's a pity, but I can sign the back of it. Quite small. I really, really like it. Yeah, I don't think I want to do anything to it, so probably just frame it. Now, at the end of 2024, and the beginning of 2025, I really enjoyed playing with Encaustic art, paint, whatever process. And I made this series of little boards. Should probably frame also some of them. I don't know, I'm always like cheap when it comes to professional framing, and I don't know how to frame these boards properly by myself. I had like the best time playing with these, and I think one of the reasons was that some of the mediums that I really like to play with, but are kind of problematic to set and fixate, were no problem with Encaustic. And so let me show you, like the minimal ones are probably my favorite, and this is something that I really struggle to work so minimalistically in other mediums, but somehow with Encaustic it was really fun. I think because the pace is kind of slower because of the nature of the medium and having to work with the hot wax, heating up all the supplies, and then fusing like every layer. But it meant I could work with oil sticks and oil pastels and even some collage work in such an easy way because you can just like seal it and fuse it with the wax. So I had the best time. This is probably one of my favorite pieces. I really need to frame them. And this was like a mess, but I find the texture so interesting. So this is mostly, I think, oil pastels that are just like melted and fused into the wax. But that's not, I actually really like the pieces with all of the neon stuff. I love that. This one I like. This one, I think this is paper inside here. I think so, like tissue paper. So you can really kind of embed it. This one is not so smooth, but you can really like embed. This is also here. This is like a piece of paper. You can like embed it into the wax. And of course you can scribble and use different, I don't even know with what I scribbled here, but I just had like the best time. Which other piece, like this one I also like. It's just like scribbles of oil pastels. I really, really love that. I should probably make more of these. Yeah, those are my favorites. This one I also like, not necessarily the colors. It's a little bit, I think the blue is just makes it a little bit too cold temperature wise, and I'm really drawn to warm color palettes these days, just like more warm colors. But look at the texture here. I think I was trying to do some sort of landscape. I don't know what I was trying to do, but I was having the best time. So this is a piece I like. Also, this is a mess. This is a bit of a mess. This is a bit of a mess. Now I could like melt all of these, kind of melt away the layers and start over. But yeah, I just loved it. And actually now would be a great time to play with it again because it's cold. And in the summer, it's not really fitting to have like a hot plate in my room. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you very soon in another video. Take care. Bye bye.